My guest is Paul Sanneman. He's the founder of Contractor Staffing Source, a business that does staffing for contractors. How did you get started with Contractor Staffing Source?
I've been a coach for 45, 50 years. Makes me an old thing, right? I literally work with a couple thousand contractors over my career. And about 4 or 5 years ago, the problem was I could get people from 2 to 20 million, did it a bunch of times, hundreds, but they couldn't find employees. And so what would happen, I started with the, say, a remodeling company or a contractor, and we start growing the company. You go, look at, I don't need more business. I can't find the people to do the work I've already done. I said, let's fix that. So my first idea was I did some research and found the best applicant tracking software, the best assessments, best practices for how to do HR and recruiting. I gave it to my contractors and they totally screwed it. No time for time management, right? So I said, fine, you're not going to do this. So I hired a guy in my garage and said, okay, I just want you to use all this stuff, do it on a monthly fee for my coaching clients, right? That was my original intent. And then it has grown since then. Where we are today is we run 300 to 400 job ads a day. Last week, we hired 25 people. We're in the US and Canada. We just started in Australia. We have 35, 40 people on the team. And the good news, the last 2,000 people we've hired, 95% of them stayed longer than a year.
Wow. Position wise, just so you say contractors, what do they do?
Well,
What's the average size?
We currently have about 300 clients, give or take. So about a third of those are service businesses like plumbers, electricians, roofers, HVAC guys, that kind of.
Okay.
And then we have about a third of those are home remodelers. And about a third of those are builders. Most of them are small. They're between $1 million and $10 million.
Okay.
Some they're 50 million.
Sounds like our clients. Yeah.
Most of them are small. And the thing is, they don't have the time to do it right. And so they end up putting an ad in Indeed, and I can get over some practices that they do, and they just don't work. That's why the turnover is so high in construction is they don't know what they're doing.
Got it. So what are you hiring or staffing all positions?
All positions, as long as in construction. We hire laborers, we hire plumbers, electricians, carpenters. We hire a lot of project managers, office administrators, bookkeepers, selections coordinators. As long as it's in the construction industry, we'll find it. And as long as they're in the US and Canada or Australia, we're good.
Wow. This sounds amazing. A lot of folks that listen to this podcast are service businesses, home service contractors. We do have a couple of remodeling clients as well. And yeah, I know that they struggle a lot. What are the trends you're seeing or detecting these days with respect to applicants? What are you seeing that's most effective for attracting the right clients?
I would say it's like anything else. There's a process that's proven process, and if you do it, it will work. Peter, how do you get healthier? You exercise regularly, you eat right, have a good attitude. It's not that hard to figure out. Getting people to do it, that's a challenge. So it's the same thing in recruiting. I've figured out how to find quality people for any industry and do it in a pretty short time. But you have to follow these certain procedures. What I'd like to do, Peter, is go over what I think gets in the way of your listeners actually pulling it off.
I'm sure that they would love to hear it. So would I. So yeah, I'd love to hear.
To me, these are what most contractors, like limiting beliefs, you can call them hiring us, but there's several of them. The first one is only recruit when you need somebody.
Of course. I can't afford them otherwise.
The problem is most people in this industry have a project-oriented brain. So they look at everything has a beginning, a middle, and an end. And in hiring is the same thing. And they take that mentality and they project it onto hiring. And it doesn't work that way. It's like marketing, right? There's two things that you never stop, which is marketing and hiring.
Yeah.
Because you have great people and you have great clients. This is a great industry. But if your clients suck and you can't find decent people, it's horrible. And most people in this industry don't know either how to find all the clients they're looking for, and so take what they shouldn't have, or they're not to find all the good employees, so they get the world's worst employee when it's bad enough to fire, good enough to keep. And they're terrible. And I would ask anybody who's listening to this podcast, anybody you have right now who you wouldn't rehire, I would fire.
Right.
And why don't you? Because you haven't got anybody to take their place. Why don't you? So the answer to that belief is always be recruiting, never stop. I have that problem. I have 300 clients, and the number one people leave us, Peter, is they go, oh, I found my project manager, I found my carpenter, and we're good. And I go,
I'm good. Yeah.
stop. So I literally charge half price if they'll do it for a year, because I had to put some financial incentives because it's just stuck in their brain. They go, look I got the guy done. You can't give me any decent sized company that's successful that's not always looking for people. I don't care if it's Starbucks or pick anybody. They're always looking for quality people.
One thing that I also have realized is that with respect to marketing, and it applies to what you do as well, the act of doing marketing, like a business owner, there's different types. And one of the types that we run into a lot is dabblers. They dabble. Oh, I got this. And it sounds this, oh, I need something, so I'm going to go do it. I'm not very good at it, but I'm going to go do it because I know how to do it. Like I know how to create an ad in Indeed. You don't really know how to recruit if you know how to create an ad in Indeed.
It's like the second myth is employees are expensive. I've heard that a bunch of times, right? That's a myth. You can't make money without employees in this industry.
Absolutely.
And so the more employees you have, the more money you make. And people don't get that. They go, oh, I can't afford that guy. He's picking up $100, $100,000 a year. If you can't make money without people. So employees are not expensive. They're the investment you're going to make. That's the second myth. Third myth, we can do this ourselves. How hard is it?
Exactly. Yep.
I put an ad in Indeed. I see who shows up and we're good. My guess
DIY.
is they don't do their own plumbing. They don't fix their own car. They don't do their own accounting. Why do they think they magically can figure out how to hire somebody? It's a very sophisticated, complex process. And somehow people think they got it figured out and they don't. So don't try to do it yourself. Hire somebody who knows what they're doing and how to do it. And you're way better off. So it's a myth to think you can do it yourself. The next one is recruit in the construction industry. Oh, they have to have construction experience. I'll give you an example. Let's look at the selections coordinator, right? Say I'm looking for a selection coordinator and I'm a remodeling company, or I want a marketing person. Whatever. You say, unless they have experience in this industry, it doesn't count. I have hired a bunch of wedding planners. Think about a wedding planner, right? You got a bunch of semi-reliable people, the band, the caterer, the venue, all these people. They all have to be at the right place at the right time. And they got to make the client, i.e. the bride, all those people very happy. It's got to look good, sound good, and feel good. And it's got to make sense. Sounds like a remodel to me, right? Or any kind of project.
Exactly. Yeah.
So somebody that has those talents can work in construction because they can just transfer those talents to something else. The good news is hospitality doesn't pay well.
Right.
So you get very inexpensive. So I have a lot of wedding planners that just killed it, even office managers and stuff. The next one, myth. Hire fast, fire slow. Big mistake. Now, why did you hire fast? Because you don't hire until after you need somebody, right?
Right.
You know, I need somebody in 6 months. Let's start now. You go, well, let's wait till we get that project. Let's wait till we get the job. Let's wait till we actually need this person. Oh my God, we just landed that new house. Our marketing just ticked off. We got a bunch of people. We got all these appointments we can't make. Let's hire a sales guy, whatever. It's too late. So they hire fast, which means I hire somebody who's, again, the wrong person, probably in most cases.
Yeah.
And then what's even worse than hiring fast is firing slow. Because you can get people that will kill an organization. They hire some guy, he only lies occasionally, he only steps out. And what happens is it kills your corporate culture. You've spent years developing a corporate culture of honesty, integrity, all that kind of stuff. You hire a guy or a woman who doesn't meet that culture, and it just kills your culture. And what happens is the good people leave. Yeah. They go, look, I can't work with this guy. He just lies. I'm not going to work with him. And so it kills your culture. So firing slow is terrible. So you should, anybody that you wouldn't rehire if you started a company over, you should fire. The reality is you hire slow. Take your time. That means you got to be recruiting all the time. You can't just wait to need the guy. The second one is fire fast. The minute a person, I should just fire. Don't think about it. I've worked as a coach in many companies. We have the same John Doe conversation for 4 years. John Doe did great. John Doe did great. And just get rid of John, man. He's messing up your organization, but people don't want to take the emotional hit or pain to do that. And the last one is recruiting is like a project that ties in the first one. I need a project manager, find a project manager, I'm done. I talked to a guy this morning. You have 40 employees, go, we'll return rolling to a year, we're good. And normally what I can do that show them the difference is, let's say you're a remodeling contractor or a boat builder or something. And somebody wants to quit one of your competitors for a very good reason. They want to come to work with you. They bring all the systems, process, clients, and subcontractors with them. You're not going to hire that guy? Come on. But if you're not looking, you're not going to find it. So those beliefs or myths really get in the way of most people in this industry doing a good job. And it's hard to change.
Got it. If I wanted to work with you, what is your process for?
Well, I'll tell you, I'll show you how to bake the cake and give the recipe. If you want to hire a chef, it's fine. Or we can do it for you. You can do it yourself.
Okay. Great.
So I'm going to explain to you what you need to do, and they'll show you how to do it with AI and do it really quick. All right.
All right.
So the first is I'm going to say you need to come up with some good pre-employment assessments. There's a bunch out there.
What? Could you repeat that?
A pre-employment assessment.
Okay.
I have one, all of them are about your mom. We have 50 years, different assessments we use. And that's why 95% of the people we hire stick, because we've gone to the research and found out, what does this person need to know? Who do they need to be? Where's their personality? Who's their integrity? We test everything, their personality, their integrity, their attention to detail. I know all about a person before I even talk.
How do you do that?
There's lots of assessments out there. There's this assessments and there's profiles. You can do some research on the internet. Find some assessments that you have faith in. One way to do it, Peter, is take the assessment yourself. Give your assessment to a couple of your guys. Establish some kind of psychological criteria for the kind of people you want in your company.
Mm-hmm.
Good test for that these days. It's not hard. And those assessments may cost you $200 a piece, but they're worth it. We throw them in for what we do, but it's worth it not to hire the right guy. So go and find some assessments that are going to clearly predict whether this person's going to succeed or not in your company.
Mm-hmm.
Do research and find those out. Next, the art of the job ad. This is an ad. It is not a description. It is a marketing, right? You've got to get somebody to click on the thing, right? And everybody that you want to hire has already got a job, guaranteed. So you got to get them to quit their job and come to work for you. That's the process. Now, how do you get somebody to quit their job? By saying, we need a project manager. We are a quality company. Come work for us. Blah, blah. It's just boring, right?
Yeah.
Because it's like, does your job suck? You hate going to work. You need to figure it's like an ad, right? You're a marketing guy. You've got to get to somebody's emotional button so they're going to press on the thing and apply. So you've got to write a great job. It can't just be a job description.
So with respect to that, when I think about marketing, I think about your unique selling proposition as a company when you're, dealing with prospects, right? You're basically dealing with prospects here. So
it's a sales job, right?
Yeah. So you want to, I would venture to say that you want to have unique selling propositions that you highlight that are most likely also related to why customers would work with you.
Similar. In our company, we have zero turnover. Why? Because we're really picky about who we pick. We're very slow. We have people all over the world and they just don't ever leave but we have to go through 300, 400 people to find the right person.
Right.
Yeah. That's on average. The last 2,000 people we hired, we went through 500,000 to find.
Wow.
You got to kiss a lot of frogs, man. Make sure it's a great job and it attracts the kind of person you want. And you can run it by your employees, something that they would go for. Love your job, or you're tired of commuting, or whatever. Figure out something selling proposition.
One thing we do with customers for some of the business we work with, we go interview the customers and say, why did you buy from these guys?
In very place, why did you come work for us?
Exactly.
you want to find out and you want to make that, it's an emotional thing. Again, when you buy a drill, you want a hole, you don't want a drill, right? And I remember I like to degenerate some things that probably are relevant, but I'm an old guy. And there was an ad when the last MASH, remember MASH?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay. So the last MASH was an incredibly expensive commercial. It was like $3 or $4 million for one. And it was, I believe it was Yamaha. I think so. And what they had, this was the app, right? There was a sleazy bar out in the middle of nowhere, and very distinctly. There was a motorcycle, I think it was Yamaha, in front of this bar. And this guy is standing in front of his motorcycle with 4 of his friends, right? This super hot chick comes out of the bar. They're all frowning and he's smiling, right? He looks at her, she looks at him, they get on the bike and ride off. Now, what are they telling you? Are they saying how many C's a motorcycle's got? Are they saying how fast it goes? A bunch of descriptions about the technical aspects of Yamaha? No. Say, buy the bike and get the girl, right?
Yep.
And so again, they're appealing emotionally. And this ad's got to do the same thing. It's got to people's emotions, not their logic, right?
Yep.
So right. Then next, where do you post the ad? Everywhere. When we post an ad, it goes on 100 job boards, plus LinkedIn, plus Facebook. We put it everywhere it can possibly go. That's where you just one logo. In fact, I think Indeed just changed their policy list this month, and you can't post a job ad for free anymore. You have to pay for it, unless you're a company like ours. It's got to go everywhere. And ChatGPT can help you come up with where to put it, right?
Okay.
This is the most key thing, and it's the hardest to do. Respond in real time. Now, if you have a lead come in and you're a roofer, how long do you have to get back to that person or a plumber or anybody? What's your response time?
It's got to be immediate. Yeah.
You've got to get back to people in real time. Now, we get back to 3,000 applicants a week in real time.
How do you do that?
A lot of AI and a lot of people. They speak Spanish, they speak whatever they need to do. That we have to go through 300 people to find one person on the average. That's our number. Right? And we get back to all those people in real time.
Wow.
So that's the hardest part, because we put an ad in for a project manager, a carpenter, whatever, and you get a bunch of phone calls. You call the guy a week later. It's way too late.
Oh, yeah.
So that's something I think we can do, and it's really hard for the average guy to do, is to get back to all the applicants in real time, knowing you're going to have to go through 300 applicants in a day. Literally, we're back in real time. 2 minutes, we're back to that. Most people are back to it. It's way too late. All right. Then once you get back to people in real time, which is the hardest part, you go through the selection process and screen the candidates. Then the assessments come in, video interviews come in, background. We do all this stuff. Do an amazing amount of assessments. Then we do videos, interview, like videos, so we can see what they're doing, ask different questions for each person. So we do video interviews. We do reference checks, we do background checks. They're really thorough before we hire the guy. And that's why 9% of them worked out. If you look at your average contractor, they don't do anything. The ad sucks. They get back to them literally in 3 or 4 days if they're lucky. They place the ad in Indeed and they're done. They have no assessment interview process. They have to come in and they look at them and maybe do a background check and they hire them. That's why 50% of them don't work out. So it's not that they're not people available. It's just, I can't find any clients. Why? Because your marketing sucks, right? They're out there. You just got to know what you're doing. So then once you hire the guy, then there's the onboarding process, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you work with key performance indicators. You got to have those done right. You've got to document it. You got to set expectations. You have deployment reviews. You got to let them architect their own success. You have to work on making this a place the person wants to be. You cannot just give them a job and say, hey, go out, do your job and have fun.
You want to keep your job, keep doing it.
The reason the industry has a really hard time finding people is because they're really down it. It's not that the people aren't there. I'll use as sort of an analogy in a way. You look at it's in retail, but you get the idea. Let's say everybody in town saying nobody wants to work here, and the drugstore says I can't find anybody. The supermarket says again, and it's this small town USA, and nobody can find it. They're not there. And we look forever and people are lazy and the kids don't want to work and blah, blah, blah. Okay. Somebody builds a Walmart a mile and a half out of town. They hire 400 people in 1 month.
Yeah.
Where do they come from? Right?
Good point.
They got a process.
Yeah.
And so it's the process that's the problem, not that there aren't people out there. We hardly ever fail. The only reason we ever fail in finding somebody is one, the person's not a good person to work for and they don't offer a fair compensation, or they can be in the middle of it. I'm in the middle of Manitoba market, so I'm looking at a project manager. I underpay the guy, and there's nobody there. But if they're in a market that has people and they offer a fair wage, we can always.
Do you help figure out some of that too, like the fair wage or compensation?
Yeah, we do fair wage and all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Now, I can show you how you can use AI to do this stuff if you're interested.
I would love to see that.
Okay, so I'm gonna. This is scary for me, but I'm gonna do it in real time, right? So I'm gonna go to ChatGPT.
Okay, and feel free to share your screen, and I will capture the video portion of this. Most of it's going to be in audio, but I will have a accompanying video to go with this.
Okay, so now in real time, Peter, give me some position that you might be looking for. Where it's located, the kind of company. Just somebody might know. You can use ABC company, have to be specific. You can keep it anonymous, but tell me somewhere, some company, and some job.
Got it. Okay, I've got a HVAC contractor in Seattle that is looking for a technician.
Okay, so here we go. You go like this.
So we have a screen, and you're using ChatGPT.
Because I can't type. I'm just going to talk into it. Okay,
that's great.
Okay, and what's the volume of the contractor?
Volume? You mean the revenue?
Dollar amount.
I'm sorry.
Dollar amount. How many? What's his annual production? How many employees does he have?
They've got about 20 employees, so it's on the smaller side, and they're doing about $3-4 million a year.
Okay. I have an HVAC company in Seattle. I do about $3 million a year, and I have 20 employees. The name of my company is ABC HVAC. You are an employment expert and HR really well. I want you to first write a job description for this position. It's an HVAC technician. So write a job description, then write a job ad that will attract somebody to quit their job and come work for me. Then once you write the job ad, write where I should put the job ad. Give me all the places it should be placed. Develop KPIs for the position. Give me 3 behavioral KPIs and 3 performance KPIs. And then develop 2-month onboarding plan for this position. Develop a 2-month onboarding plan for this position. There we go. See, I have no clue how it's going to work out. The job title, there's the job title, HVAC technician, Seattle, Washington, ABC HVAC. It says, here's the job overview. Give the job overview. Seattle, Washington experience. Give the job overview. Gives you key responsibilities, install and maintain HVAC, diagnose and troubleshoot, perform regular preventative maintenance, ensure competence. Gives you all of the key responsibilities. Gives you the qualifications, high school diploma, minimum 3 years, valid strong knowledge of HVAC, like the outline valid qualifications, talked about the physical requirement ability, move physical ability, fund spaces, gives you the benefit, competitive health, blah, blah, blah. There you go.
Wow. That's amazing.
So, how hard was that?
That's obviously you have to polish it a little bit.
You have to polish it, but think how much time's that stage.
Yeah.
And so just not using AI is just not smart. Mm-hmm. And it works for anything. You can polish it and change it. But as far as getting the basics down, it's never been easier than it is now.
That's yeah. And like I said, obviously you want to check it, fact check it, but
you can also say, if you don't like something, you go, I'll do this.
Oh yeah. Tell it to improve or retry or use a different tone.
Please give me 10 more places to put the job ad. I really need to find this guy. And can you make it a more interesting job ad? Because I think it's boring. Do what it says. Here we go. In real time.
Thinking.
Okay.
There we go.
Join the HVAC elite, HVAC in Seattle. Competitive pay. So it says join HVAC. Let's see. Career growth, exciting cutting edge tool, competitive vehicle, amazing team. We're looking for 10 additional ways to post a job. HVAC job, school boards, Nextdoor, Reddit, Angie Lee's, Seattle Times, Classified, Workforce Washington, Facebook, HVAC groups, Handy, Skilled Trades USA, and JobFest.
So it gave very specific examples to the local area. Nice.
And then you can say something like, I'll go for, it says Facebook HVAC groups, right? And I would say, what should I write in the Facebook HVAC group? And it'll give you very specific of what you need to do in that. This is a great, and this is something that everybody has access to for free. And I go for the $20 a month to get the professional version, right, of ChatGPT. But it's going to save people a ton of time. Now, the downside of doing this is one, you won't respond in real time. You don't have time to do that. You won't place it. That's why we do what we do. Because even though AI helps with all this, you just can't get employers to do it.
We run into a lot of that as well, just with marketing. You can use AI to do certain tasks, but you still have to know the prompts. You've obviously provided the prompts here today. Very helpful.
It's a tool. And I would say, if you're going to do it yourself, use AI and follow all those best practices that we just laid out. But if you're any size company, I can do 5 people for you, 5 different positions for $1,500 a month, and you cannot do that. It's just
wow.
Because we use a lot of offshore. You just can't do it. I can give you 4 people on your team, an entire recruiting department, HR, and I could do it for $1,500 a month. You can't even come close.
So who is the ideal client size-wise for you? I know you mentioned some numbers earlier, but what?
I would say probably anybody under 20 million. Okay. What happens in about 20 million is we get HR. Yep. And they have their political turf. So unless we hire the HR person, it's really to get past them. Because we do everything they do for a fraction of the cost, right? A good HR person is going to cost you $80,000 a year, and we do everything for 17 all in for 4 people. So we aren't generally, if they are big enough to have their own HR person, the HR person is able to keep us out. But they're not big enough. Our HR, I think we make an ideal fractional HR.
Got it. So if you've got somebody in your company that's responsible for hiring, but it's not their main job. Sometimes it's the owner,
sometimes the office manager.
Yep.
And what happens is it's somebody's job. Put an ad in Indeed, write it up, and screen the people for me, and send anybody who's going to make an appointment. That's typical as local.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem is it just doesn't work very well.
Yeah, we see the exact same thing with marketing. It's usually an add-on to somebody else's job that's already full.
Right. Like, they don't know how to do it.
So no.
Yes, it is. Companies like yours, it's way easier and cheaper to outsource some of the stuff than it used to be.
Yeah.
And so we're your ideal fractional outsource HR department.
That's pretty impressive, Paul. If people want to learn more about your company, talk to you.
Well, they can go to the website, which is Contractor Staffing Source. And they can make an appointment with me. I'll be happy to talk to them. And for free, I'll spend an hour with them, tell them everything I know, how to do it themselves. I'll give them all specifics. I'll literally run through some job ads with them, that kind of thing, and show them how you see it. I'll literally, here's a recipe, here's a cookbook, have fun. Or if they want to do with us, I'll give them, like, if they respond to this podcast, I'll do some assessments for free. I'll do some just profiles for free. I'll also give them $500 off of the monthly to encourage people to do stuff. But we're a great resource. You should at least talk to us.
The fact that you specialize in contractors, home service contractors, and remodeling, and we've got a lot of clients that are in that field, and I know they need a lot of help. And you've picked a good niche to focus on. So that's very helpful. I've really appreciated the time. So we'll cut out the video part of the AI and I'll show that. And then also a little bit of the tool you showed us afterwards. So that'll be available as a video separate from this podcast. We'll post it on our YouTube channel and we'll embed it in the episode page for this podcast episode as well.
Hope this was informative.
Oh, extremely informative, Paul. Thank you so much. And I'm sure you're going to be hearing from some of our listeners here real soon. Thanks for listening to this episode of Biz and Life Done Well with Peter Wilson. You can subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and most of the other popular podcast platforms. Please tell your friends about us and leave us a review so even more people will find out about us. Thanks again. We'll see you soon.